Welcome everybody. We can go ahead and get started. If you'd like to do introductions, I'm Georgette Rogers, Liberty Lake Library.
I'm
I guess I'm
Charlie.
running the meeting.
I'm SLO County. Oh no, you're.
Carol LaJoy with County of San Luis Obispo.
I'm George Williams. I'm the NEKLS Search Catalog Coordinator at Northeast Kansas Library System.
Juliet Helder-Breitel. I'm a Systems Coordinator at Rapid City Public Library.
I'm Jason Raup. I'm the CKLS Coordinator at the Southeast Kansas Library System.
Excuse me. So if anyone has anything, I haven't had any issues with CERC lately, and so we're actually doing pretty good. I don't know if anybody's got anything that they need to discuss. And in the future, if you guys want to send me things, I will make an agenda for our next meeting. Make sure I'm going to be at the next meeting.
This is the first time I've had the time on my calendar at the right time for this meeting.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I kept showing up at the wrong time because I just had it on wrong on my calendar. I kept forgetting to fix it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We changed it last year, I think, when John asked me to co-chair, and I said, well, I can't do it on the whatever day, Thursday or whatever. It just didn't work. So he said, well, why don't we change it to Wednesday? And it worked for me, and we put it on the screen, but apparently people missed it because I had somebody else ask about it too. So I'll make sure I'll talk with Christopher and make sure we get it straightened out.
So one of the
But I'm
things
glad you're here. Mm-hmm.
One of the things I'd recommend, and this actually, I hate to say this, but it's a good idea from the Aspen community. I mean, I hate to give credit to good ideas to anybody else. All the good ideas should be Koha ideas. What they do is there's just one agenda for their circulation group, and then they just add a new page for each. They at the end, when it's time to do the agenda for the next month, they just insert a page at the top so that there's just one agenda, and it's a shared document. Anybody can add to it. And so that's what I've been doing with the system administrators group, which meets, or is it the consortium group? Whichever group I'm a part of that meets tomorrow. I'm pretty sure now that I think about it, it's consortium. So that's
it is
tomorrow.
Consortium.
But there's just one document and it just sits there. And if people want to add to it, it's there to add to. So
Okay. I'll take that good idea and run with it. I will send everybody the info once I get it. Thanks, George.
like I said, it's not my good idea. It's an Aspen. It's not even a Koha good idea. It's an Aspen Discovery good idea. So
I know, but it's, again, credit where credit's due.
good ideas are good ideas, I suppose.
That's right. That's right. So, so if anybody has anything that they, want to discuss, we can.
I do. So
Okay.
So we are changing up how we set up like patron accounts and like expiration dates and all and renewal dates and stuff like that. And there are a couple of things I would like to ask, like I'd like to kind of get ideas from everybody of what your current process is when you're expiring patrons, or like how you have things set up on the back end for renewing patron accounts. So, and Carrie pointed this out to me, like I pointed this out in an email. There's a system preference called borrower renewal period base. We currently, and this when renewing borrowers, base the new expiry date on current date. That's what we have it on right now. I'm wondering if anybody has like a different setup for this particular system preference.
I am not sure what system preference we use because Christopher set it up for us several years ago. I can check with him and find out. But ours expire every 2 years, and the patrons get an email reminding them that it's time to, update their card, and they have to come in and verify, or they can call us and just verify their information. That's how we do it.
I think you're talking about the membership expiry dates notice thing. I think that's also
Yeah.
a cron job.
Yeah.
I remember reading up on it, but I don't remember where it is.
Mhm.
Well, we'll probably set that up a little bit later, but yeah, does anybody have any other setup besides current date for their borrower renewal period base?
So I'm looking at the preference, and the options are the ladder of current and expiry date, current member expiry date, or current date. So I think if you set it at current date, it expires, whatever the period is from based on today's date. That makes sense to me. Current membership expiry date takes the date on the account that exists and it just extends that date. And then the ladder of current and expiry date, I think what that does is it says which is older, the current expiry date or the date today, which one's going to be further into the future. And we just use current date.
Yeah.
Charlie, we're not currently set up to do current date. I'm asking that we get set up for current date because it makes sense. Patrons come in, like verify their address, etc., move forward, and we renew as of to the date that they, validate all of the information on their account. Currently, what's happening is that staff have to manually adjust for today's date because the accounts are set up to renew from their expiration. Some of these cards were expired several years ago. So when you renew, their accounts remain expired, which is not helpful for us.
Right.
I can't imagine that being helpful for anybody.
No.
No, so
I used to work at a library where the patron's account always expired on their birthday. Staff would have to go in and manually set the expiration date to the patron's birthday. And this is before we used Koha, but when somebody needed to have their account renewed, you had to go in and manually update the date. And one of the advantages of that is it kind of spread expiration dates throughout the year, which that way you didn't have all the cards expiring like on the, in the middle of June or whatever. But it had to be done manually. And that's what we hated about it. And when we moved to Koha, we could, there was a better process in place for renewing. We just went with current dates. So
We go with the date they get their card. It's 2 years from the date they get their card. And then we just click renew once they, there's a note on their card that says patrons account will expire, is either expired or will expire in 30 days. And then we just go and verify everything. We hit renew and it renews for an automatic 2 years from that date. So it expires 2 years from the day they get their card.
yeah, so I'm reading from the manual that the default for this setting is current date. So right now, and I'm looking at our system preference right now, we're currently set up as current date. I guess
If we were, then staff could use that renewal button, but that's not what's happening. So somehow that status isn't being applied regularly.
That's confusing. I wonder if there's something else that needs to be turned on in order for it to work properly. I don't see anything in the manual, but I might have to reach out to ByWater and see if there is something up with this or if there is a additional step that I need to do in order to make this a thing.
Are those patrons that you're seeing the issues with ones that like you had imported into Koha or like because I know we were having trouble with it having weird expiration dates when our patrons didn't have an expiration date in the system. It was making it do all kinds of weird things and making it have old expired dates and things.
That is a really good question. We haven't looked into that yet.
We're doing like a really big patron project, so bring that up in the meeting.
Yeah, I'll second that. I was wondering if it was a data issue rather than a settings issue, because if you've got null expiry dates, then it might not realize how to calculate that correctly.
Mm.
And it wouldn't be that hard to write a report that says these are all the patrons with, these are all the barcode numbers that have a null expiration date. And then you could use the batch patron modifier to give them a date. And that would probably solve that problem.
Perfect, thank you. Also, I just want to do a shout out to George. I was watching your video about how to delete patrons. You and Chris had a video on your, it's been very helpful. So I just wanted to say thank you. I was looking for references and like best practices, and that helped a lot.
Our practice is pretty complicated, but that's because that's what my users wanted. So I wish it was easier. I'd just like to go in and delete everybody. And that's something I would say is I have in the past asked ByWater if there's a cron job where they could automatically delete patrons that have been expired past a certain amount of time. And the last time I asked them about that, they were really reluctant to turn that on. They say that they, at the time, they said that they were reluctant to do that because once they're deleted, and they have had situations in the past where they've deleted patrons and then people have to call them and say, hey, could you undelete these, 50 patrons? And that's what they want to avoid. So our process goes out of the way to make it so that our libraries can know who's going to be deleted before they're deleted, and to make sure that they have the ability to run those reports, because they said that's what they wanted, although nobody runs those reports. They don't care. And then it gives me to go in there. And so we made it part of our process to just make it so that any patron whose account has been expired for more than 3 years, they're just deleted semi-automatically.
We won't do it automatically because we have patrons at collection and we can't have them deleted out. So we just go through and delete them, but we're not a huge, library. So.
And my process doesn't delete anybody that owes money, has things checked out, has guarantors, or it only deletes people that have clear accounts that have just been expired for more than 3 years. So
Can you throw me that link? Can you throw that link in the
Oh, it's already, I put it in the chat.
Oh, great, thanks.
Episode 4, season 4, episode 17. Wow, that seems like such a long time ago, but it was only like 6 months ago, wasn't it?
I'm gonna open that really quick and then just save it. There we go. Oh gosh, that was loud. Did I lose everybody? Here I am. Okay, now I got it open, so I can go back and look at it. Might be something I might need to implement.
10 out of 10.
I also added a bug to the chat that I filed 3 years ago. No traction, but I'd like to be able to add for expiration dates like this, in order to keep them staggered when you're batch updating large quantities of patrons, to add on a number of days. So let's say you need to add 365 days or whatever your school year is or whatever. Right now you can only pick one specific date, which is a problem we have when I'm pushing out expiration dates. Say if we're having some sort of system issue and I don't want people expiring on a certain date, or like they're expiring on Christmas, somehow that happens, where they're expiring on holidays. So I'll push them out. But if there were 5,000 patrons all expiring on Christmas, you wouldn't want them all expiring on the same day, because that's quite extensive for staff. I actually have a bunch of reports that show how many patrons expire each day of the year. And then in order to keep the load below 300 patrons a day, I sometimes manually move out expiration dates so that they're not patrons or staff aren't overloaded with the number of cards expiring. So, but we kind of do what George does, where after 3 years, we just purge those accounts. We have, data retention policies we have to follow. So, but good luck with your project, Charlie.
Thanks. And if anything, I've signed up for that bug and I've added a comment. So hopefully we'll get more eyes on it.
Yeah, it's really easy. I see the bug, and it's not too horribly difficult to go in and use the batch patron modification tool to generate a list of patrons and to adjust them, but there isn't a way to say add X number of dates to that. You actually have to put in a hard-coded date. But yeah, this is an interesting bug. I like the idea.
Okay, does anybody else have anything? Like I said, we're cruising along pretty good. I haven't had any issues.
Nikki and I were going over looking a little bit at the release notes for 2505 today. Is there anything anybody sees that's interesting that's coming up in 2505 that I just barely scratched the release notes today? So
Yeah, I'll have to look at them. I haven't had a chance yet. I'll do that when I'm out at the front desk, which is just in a few minutes. So I'm going to have to jump off here in about 5 minutes.
I have a scrap of paper with a bunch of stuff written down, but I don't know what some of this means because it was like a month ago. The hold history is getting restified, I guess. That doesn't mean anything. Check previous checkout should account for current loans. That's something we use a lot. So especially for our homebound patrons where they're going out and shopping for books, when they go to check it out, we want them to be aware if they've sent it to that homebound patron before. And I guess previously it wasn't accounting for things that were currently checked out, just things that were checked out in the past. So that's a circulation one. We're excited about being able to edit transaction notes too. That was at the top of my little list. So being able to go into the finds and edit things.
I saw that one today, and I have a love-hate relationship with that one. On the one hand, I think it's really valuable, really useful to be able to edit those. On the other hand, my concern is that somebody's going to have a note there that explains why they did something, and then somebody can go in there and delete it. So that concerns me.
Well, I'm sorry to have to do this. I'm going to jump out. I will watch the recording. If there's anything you need, shoot me an email, anything like that. So I will see you all next month. And I promise I'll be there at the full meeting next month.
See you later.
Treasure.
Bye.
Bye.
I was halfway afraid for a second there that she would leave and that would end the meeting.
Rebecca, you asked about bug 40331. I'm not really working with it. Somebody else in my consortium is talking to ByWater about it, but they think it might be related. The problems we're having are related to that bug as well. And I think we're seeing things that are not, they're not getting pulled by that library for other libraries because their staff isn't realizing it's supposed to go. I'm not entirely sure.
So what you're
Yeah.
saying is it's more of a workflow or a process error rather than a software issue?
I'm not sure.
That's my strong supposition.
Yeah, for us, I canceled 47 transfers on the same book this morning. And every time I checked it seemed to add one, and it was between two branches. And this is I mean, I've had lists and lists of different books, but this is the largest one I've had today. And the branch reported it. They put in a request for help because they said, we keep checking it in, but it's not, the transfer is not clearing, even though we have the book and it's between two branches. So I actually had to go into transfers to receive and then cancel all the transfers one by one. By the way, they really should have a way to batch cancel transfers. But when I finally canceled all the transfers, it let the item go through. But we've been seeing this for a couple of weeks. So I was just curious to know if anyone else was seeing the same problem. But that's the bug number for it. So
I wonder
Not
if
sure.
the batch modification is going to be available when there's a thing coming up for batch modifying holds.
I tested that one.
Not sure if that covers that.
I don't think it covers transfers. A bug specifically for batch canceling transfers. But it does, that tool does do a lot. I totally forgot I tested that. We tested it in baby dev, so if you want to see it in action, you can. I'm not recording, but it's really nice and adds some good functionality for doing batch changes to holds. I was trying to find like one of my big libraries that has this problem with the transfers, and I'm not coming up with like duplicate transfers. So I guess we're not seeing it.
Yeah, I don't see duplicate transfers in our transfers to receive page, but we're getting where it'll say something is transfer pending to another library, but the staff had checked it in and didn't get notified that there was a transfer to that library, so they just put it back on the shelf. So, and then it just stays in that transfer pending status. And I'm not sure if that's related or not.
I have a different bug that was causing transfer pending. So like the pending transfer status should only be like dealing with rotating collections from what I understand, but we don't use those and we were coming up with them. So this is the one that I was able to like replicate the issue for us, which it has to do with the automatic confirm transfer thing. And then the check-in box stays active behind the modal. So like if you scan something while the modal's up, then it will revert the transfer back to pending. So then it's stuck in a limbo state until you actually do something with it.
That might be what's affecting us.
That sounds like a modal problem. It sounds like a problem with the template that builds that page, probably.
And then we compound it because we use Sort Assistant from FE Tech to check in our materials, and sometimes staff don't notice it's supposed to go back to a different library, and so then they send it to the home library, and then they check it in, it's the wrong library, and that just makes it even more confusing. They should notice because it tells them, but
I think for us, the reason that we haven't had the issue is because we have auto confirm transfer set differently.
what does that one do?
Auto confirm transfer. If you when you check something in and it's supposed to transfer, if you clear the modal, it says don't automatically confirm a transfer when the modal is dismissed without clicking yes. So if you have it set to don't, then you check something in and you clear the modal box without clicking transfer, it won't automatically transfer it, I think is the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, this was something that we've fought with throughout the years. Like it's one of those things that somebody fixes the behavior and then it doesn't work the way we've always been used to. So like for us, if it doesn't automatically confirm the transfer without clicking yes, then they were doing like an in and out sort of thing where it'd go in transit and then you check it in and you go out of transit and back and forth, where we need it to always be in transit when it gets checked in, even if somebody manages to get outside the modal. Otherwise, it falls off of all the reports and we lose track of it.
Was this impacting your use? So we use automated handling machines, and so we don't have staff going in and manually clicking on yes. Are you seeing that that's affecting the process? Is that so I think so what we're seeing at our branch is that items are popping up on our holds queue that aren't physically in the branch. And I think it's because the AMH at our central hub library is using an automated materials handling machine to process everything. And it's not confirming that transfer. And so it's showing up as on shelf at our library when really it's in transit.
It could be like this coming into play for sure. We don't have anything that complex. But yeah, it could be that. So for us, when that situation specifically that you're describing happens, is when the library is canceling the hold but forgetting to put it back in transit. So it's setting the current branch as where the hold went. And since they don't check it in again, but they send it back, then it's currently available at the wrong library, and it shows up on the wrong library's queue. So for us, it's the canceling holds that's hitting that. But for sure, this could also, like if you're getting it checked in, and the transfer is not getting triggered, like that's why we have this turned on. So anytime something gets checked in, there's a transfer associated with it. It could definitely be coming into play, but I don't have enough experience with like yeah. Some of those AMH things are much bigger than some of my library's actual space. So
Yeah, I remember seeing the automated materials handler in Pueblo when we were there for the Coha conference. And it's like, wow, I wish some of my libraries were as big as the room that this AMH is in.
So I was looking up I believe this is the one we're talking about, unless I'm wrong. Items in transit show as both in transit and available on holdings list. That's the bug that I don't see any movement on it, if it is the right bug. Resolved, fixed. Nope, I'm wrong.
Yeah, that looks like it's was already in 2405.
So did it come back, or maybe I need to meet with you a little bit later, Kara? We can like look over this bug and see if we can find any examples in our system.
Again,
I
I
would-
strongly suspect that this is a processing error on our part and not a software error.
Oh, okay.
If you do look at the bug, you've got the test plan right there for how to see if it's fixed or not.
this is totally unrelated, but I keep like running into it as I'm looking at my transfers to receive report, and it's super annoying. So I don't know, like we talked about it at some other meeting and other people were experiencing it too. I've been working on jQuery to just disable fixed table headers if you're not using Firefox, but I have to tell it exactly which tables I want it to turn that off on. But that's been my solution workaround right now. But it's like really, really annoying. Like it bounces the screen up and down when you're scrolling.
So is this one of those sticky table things?
Yeah, it has to do with the fixed headers on data tables. Like
Uh,
only in Chrome, I guess in Edge, I think Renee left, but she mentioned that it's happening in Edge too. They get like stuck, they get caught, and then it'll bounce the table back up instead of like sticking the header and scrolling down. It works fine in Firefox as far as I can tell, but everywhere else, Chrome and whatever else, it's not.
It's doing that in Edge. We've reported it too, and I included a comment on this bug as well. We're seeing it a lot here for sure.
so this is why I tell our libraries to use Firefox. Well, it's not the only reason, but that's what we tell them is that's what we support is Firefox and to a lesser extent Chrome. And when they say Edge, we say, get out of here. Just go someplace else.
Maybe she should talk to our our IT department for the county. I think they could use your voice in their meetings. Maybe we can convince them.
Here's the jQuery in case anybody wants it. That's a lot and messy, but that's disabling it on the whole queue, the add edit screen, and the displays screen for us. Well, I call it displays, it's course reserves. But you can sort of see the structure there if you want to play with the code. And I'm definitely going to add it to the transfers to receive because there's so many tables on that page, and it's just like getting hung up on every table as I scroll down. It's maddening.
I'm noticing that I'm kind of going through the release notes, and I'm seeing that patron expiration email has been added to the patron messaging preferences. So you can turn on or off whether or not patrons receive. But it becomes part of that messaging table. And it looks like a whole bunch of notices have been translated in a template toolkit too, a bunch of the defaults. So yay, template toolkit. There's a lull in the conversation, so let me ask, is everybody here going to the conference in Rhode Island?
Just booked my flight.
We'll be there in spirit and online.
Now I need to pick a hotel.
I've heard that one of them, they don't have a list of recommended hotels and they didn't reserve blocks of rooms, but there was one of them that they were encouraging people to stay away from. They were suggesting, do you remember which one it is?
Wally said it was the one closest to the venue because it was the most inconvenient thing. but I don't know which one it was. I ended up like, I think I picked the Omni because it's further away, so I figured I was out of range of whatever that one was.
I think that was the one I was looking at too.
That's the one I'm planning on booking too, was the Omni.
I tried to book ours yesterday and our credit card is expiring next month, so I have to wait.
They have info on the conference page, and one of them is listed as rumored to be a haunted hotel.
Book that one.
Yeah, that's an encouragement, not a discouragement.
I want to book that one, but it's more expensive than the Omni, and so I'm like, can I justify just because I want to see a haunted hotel?
I really want to push to go to the conference now. That sounds awesome.
Well, I just mentioned template toolkit. Christopher and I will not be complaining about notices and slips this year at the conference because he's not going to be there. It'll just be me complaining.
What are you going to complain about it?
Oh, well, since he's not there, I can complain about him.
Oh.
We won't be complaining about Koha, but I can complain about him the whole time. So. I'm kind of scrolling through the release notes. I see there's improvements to the locked account message. That, you know, now there's that thing where you can make a patron account protected. Or maybe that's different. Maybe this is the locked because of too many. I don't know. I'll have to look at the bug. But underneath that, it says log changes to extended patron attributes. That's something I've wanted for a while because those currently are not logged. So it'll be nice to be able to look at the logs. Currently, if there's a change in the patron attributes, you just get this weird, it's a weird thing in the logs that doesn't relate to those. It just shows up as weird. But actually being able to see how those are logged will be useful.
It looks like the locked account thing has to do with too many password attempts.
Yeah.
And locking the account that way.
So that will be, I'm looking at that and I'm interested in seeing what that looks like because that right now I've got custom make that look the way I want it to. So it'd be nice if it's going to show up in a different spot to know that beforehand.
I have a quick question. I don't mean to pull us off of enhancements. I believe I mentioned this at another meeting, but I know Jason isn't experiencing this, and I really hope it's no, you know what? I'm not gonna say that. We're experiencing an issue with our EDI orders. When we submit orders, it shows up in Koha, but it doesn't show up on our TES 360 site. The bug has been like reported and everything, and we've updated our plugin information for Edifact, and it's still taking like a couple days before the EDI order is on the TS 360 site. So now I'm wondering if it's a 360 error rather than a Koha error. If there's like any other reason why the order would take that long to get there. I don't know if it's like credential issue or something to do with like something needs to be on an allow list that I'm not like getting. It has something to do with Cloudflare. Has anyone experienced any slowness with their ordering, especially EDI?
That wasn't me because we don't
Okay.
EDI, but I do remember it coming up and someone mentioning it in that meeting that they, yeah, but no, I don't know.
Yeah, it's Nobody's using EDI. It's cool. If anything, I recommend it. Less work, theoretically.
That might be a better question for the acquisitions meetings. I know some people at some libraries that work in circulation that wouldn't know that even if they were here, they wouldn't know what EDI is. So
Gotcha.
I just saw something I wanted for a very long time. In the staff interface, the shelving location in searches will be in a separate column. So when you look at the results, or when you're looking at the details in a bib record, the item, and in the item record, the shelving location will be in a separate column. Currently, it's underneath the, is it underneath the item type or underneath the collection code or something?
I believe it's the library.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Oh,
where it is. So having it in the
that's
separate
awesome.
column would be awesome.
Oh,
What
yeah,
the
let's do
next
that.
step now, the other thing I want is I want to be able to rearrange the order of the columns in that
Oh,
table.
you can only select which one can be turned on or off, but you can't rearrange them.
Yeah,
Is
you
that-
can turn them on or off, but you can't rearrange them. And I think it would be nice, you know, our library, the order that we classify things in is library, shelving location, item type, collection code, call number. And so I'd like the things to show up in that table in that order, but they don't. The item type is on the left. And then since I'm not looking at it, I can't remember, but they're never in that order. And so it'd be nice to be able to reorder those in addition to deciding which ones to make visible or invisible. So
I would second that.
I saw Jason going like this, so I'm assuming he's worried that that table is going to get too wide.
Yep. Sorry off the screen for me now. I was looking at in a test server, but it's okay. I can hide some columns nobody needs to see, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of columns hidden in there.
I feel like there's a bug about adding column order to the data table settings, but I haven't found it yet.
If you find it, let me know and I can +1 on that if it wasn't me that opened it in the first place. Actually, I'm pretty sure it wasn't me because I'm not finding anything either. And I looked for column order, and I'm sure that if I submitted a bug, that would have been part of the title of the bug would include the words column and order.
Well, if it's this hard to find, you can go ahead and open a new one probably, and then if somebody finds the old one, they'll merge it.
Yeah, I could probably do that. Found it. It's add ability to set order of columns and column configuration. Here's the bug number, the link in the box. Lizette opened it and I'm a +1 on it. So a whole bunch of, yeah, this would be great, let's add this, but no offer of, hey, I'll help pay for it. So
I can donate $1. I get paid tomorrow, so I should be good for it.
Well, I have a circulation-y opac-y thing. I had a patron ask if they could renew their kids' stuff in the opac the other day, and I realized that's still not a thing. So I found that there was a bug about it. That may be something we try to push to develop. Is that something that you can do in Aspen?
yes, I believe you can. If you in Aspen, you have to go into Aspen to link accounts together, and once they're linked, you can renew for those patrons that are linked to you. And it's in Aspen. Any person can link to any other person. It doesn't. They don't have to be parent. It doesn't have to be a parent-child relationship, and staff can't access. You can't, like, if I had my children linked to my account, staff can't go into my account in Aspen through the masquerade feature and manipulate those other accounts. So if I remember correctly. And you can also set it so that some account types can't be linked, like all of the staff accounts cannot be linked to other accounts in Aspen. So there's some functions there that are some of them I would say are better, and some of them I would say are not as good as Koha, but they're it's just different. So
You can also do it in Lita if you have the app.
yeah, that's right. I'm going through the 25 release notes a little bit at a time here. Does anybody know if the SIP configuration stuff is in 2505, or is that still in development?
I think it's still hung up. I don't think that it made it into 2505.
Darn.
Okay, I'll keep sending my SIP tickets to ByWater.
Yeah, it's failed QA right now, so still needs some work. There's the bug, in case you want to see it. And we mentioned the batch modify holds tool earlier, so there's a bug for that. If anybody's interested, it's in signed off right now, but you could probably spin it up in a sandbox if you want to play with it. More sign-offs are always better.
I was showing Nikki some things about sign-offs today, and I signed off on a bug that I reported yesterday that somebody had written a patch for already this morning. And it was like the smoothest sign-off ever. and I didn't record it. I should have recorded it, because my experience has been every time somebody tries to do a demo of how to sign off, it becomes like the most complicated sign off that you've ever done. And this one was so quick, smooth, and easy. It would have been the perfect thing to do a demo on, and I didn't record an inch of it. So yay me, I screwed up.
No, because if you had recorded it, then it wouldn't have gone smoothly. That's the universal law.
Totally. I suppose I could do it again and add a second sign off.
You could have Nikki do it the second time. Then you have 2 separate sign-offs on it.
Yeah, that's not a horrible idea either.
I learned about dashboard stalking at our baby devs 6. I was looking into see what that bug actually was. So you did report group authorized value cannot be numeric. Is that the one they signed off on?
Yes, that's exactly the one.
Nice. Dashboards are cool. Here's George's.
Wow, I've signed off on 27 bugs in the history of my time with Koha. Wow.
Yeah, Lizette was like walking through this, and one of her suggestions was like, if you get to know which people are interested in what things, then you can pull up the dashboard and it lists all their CCs there. So like, since I know that George is interested in consortial bugs, I can pull up his dashboard and like browse through all the consortium bugs that he's interested in as well.
Okay, this thing is pretty cool.
I'm trying to remember, if you want to see a crazy one, I'd have to remember the email address for the, I think it's bugs@koha-us.org. That it's like, I try to, every time that we have one of these meetings, to link all the bugs to that. So it probably has a crazy feed. But they've never signed off on anything or done anything.
Yeah, here it is, I think. 116 CCs.
Yeah, if you want to know what they're interested in, it's a little bit of everything.
I've got another meeting, so I'm gonna dip. But thanks everybody. This was good.
Thank you. I'm going to do the same. Thanks, everybody.
I think this meeting's probably over. I'll see you all later.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey.